Well, if you're a gun owner in Clay, Ray, Lafayette, Saline, Howard, or Cooper County, you have a choice to make in the upcoming August 6th Republican Party primary. Doug Richey versus Kurtis Gregory. Who's going to fight for your gun rights in the Missouri Senate? Stay tuned, guys. We're breaking this race down for you right now. Hey guys, Aaron Dorr here with the Missouri Firearms Coalition. The August primary, it's almost here, and we're being asked by a lot of our members and other gun voters in Senate District number 21 about this open seat primary featuring Representative Doug Richey versus Representative Kurtis Gregory. It's this big chunk here in north central Missouri. Again, it's Cooper, Howard, Saline, Lafayette, Ray, and portions of Clay County. It's an open seat because Denny Hoskins has served his term in Jeff City. He's now running for Secretary of State, thus creating this open seat primary. And the question you always ask us is not who's pro-gun, because everyone's pro-gun, right? I mean, everyone's suddenly a champion in the fight for gun rights in Missouri in a Republican Party primary. Gun voters have been betrayed far too many times to fall for that line. The question you ask us is, who can we count on? Who can we trust? Who do we know that we can believe will fight for our gun rights? It's an important question to ask because more and more these days we see Republicans right here in Missouri who are openly voting against your gun rights in Jeff City. Republicans who are openly talking about passing red flag gun seizures or weakening the Second Amendment Preservation Act. And so we must, as gun owners, we must look at candidates and decide who do we know that we can count on, who will fight for us in Jefferson City. So what we have done in this race is compiled all that we have on these candidates from their website, from our candidate survey, and most of all, from their voting history in Jeff City to give you a snapshot on where these candidates stand. They've been in office for a long time, so we have a lot of votes to break down and give you guys in this overview. We're going to begin with Doug Richey. With Doug Richey, it's pretty straightforward. He surveyed 100% pro-gun with the Missouri Firearms Coalition. And what that means to us is that Doug Richey did not just say he would vote pro-gun. Richey said that he would lead in the fight for gun rights by being willing to sponsor pro-gun bills in Jeff City. You see, we have 100 or more Republicans right now in Jeff City who will vote pro-gun if they're told it's okay to vote pro-gun. But we have very few Republicans who will lead in that fight by sponsoring pro-gun bills and then pressuring their leadership team to put the bills on the floor for a vote. Doug Richey has vowed to do that in his candidate survey. Now, a lot of candidates will survey, and we still wonder, do they mean it or are they just saying it? Thankfully, in this case, Doug Richey's record backstops what he's told us on his candidate survey. For example, this year, he was a leading co-sponsor on House Bill 2559. This is our bill this year to enhance stand your ground law here in Missouri. Missouri has stand your ground law, but it's a very weak version, at least in an era when Kim Gardner-style prosecutors can come after us for virtually anything they want. Here in Missouri right now, unfortunately, if you use your firearm in a self-defense situation, in the eyes of the law, you're presumed guilty, and then you have to prove your innocence in court. That's backwards. This is America. This is Missouri. We're supposed to be innocent until proven guilty, but we're not when it comes to self-defense. Our bill would fix that. It would give us that presumption of innocence, a very powerful tool to use in your defense. And it would also make it clear that you can invoke stand your ground law before you go to trial. Right now, it only comes into play after you've been convicted. That's not good enough. Doug Richey agrees. He was a leading co-sponsor on House Bill 2559. He also co-sponsored House Bill 1651. This is our bill to ban red flag gun seizures. You probably all heard about red flags. It allows your neighbor, an ex-spouse, an angry coworker, someone who doesn't like you to call the cops and say that you might be dangerous. And if they believe you're dangerous, then go to a judge and they'll ask for the permission to confiscate your guns before you've been charged with a crime. That's ridiculous. It's totally unconstitutional. We've stopped it for years here in Jeff City, but our goal now is to ban red flags altogether here in Missouri forever. That's our goal with HB 1651. Doug Richey agrees, and he co-sponsored that bill this year. Finally, he co-sponsored HB 1708. This bill is dealing with gun-free zones here in Missouri. We have a lot of them, almost 18 of them. It's not state law, it's Missouri law that mandates these gun-free zones, and we all know what that means. We're helpless, we're unarmed, as a madman with a gun can attack us and our loved ones in these so-called gun-free zones. It's ludicrous. They need to go, they have to all be repealed. Doug Richey agrees, and he co-sponsored HB 1708. Bottom line, Doug Richey has a history of supporting the Second Amendment and leading in that fight in Jeff City over all of his years in the Missouri House. That's a recap on Doug Richey. When it comes to Kurtis Gregory, it's a different story. So Kurtis Gregory did survey with the Missouri Firearms Coalition. The problem is that he only said he would co-sponsor bills. And so when one candidate says, hey, I'll lead in that fight, I'll sponsor pro-gun bills, I'll take the hits from the rhinos, from the Democrats, from the media, that's one level of support. And when a candidate says, yeah, I'll co-sponsor and vote for bills, that's a differing level of support that we think you need to know. So while Kurtis Gregory did survey and said he would co-sponsor bills, that's not the same thing as being a lead sponsor. But there's other problems with this as well. You see, Kurtis Gregory is now saying on his survey that he would co-sponsor bills like House Bill 2559. Again, that's our bill to enhance stand your ground law. Sounds great, you say. The problem is that he's refused to do it. So when the bill has been in the process in Jeff City for the last 2 years, Kurtis Gregory refused to co-sponsor that bill. The same thing for House Bill 1651. Again, this is our bill to ban red flag gun seizures. On his survey, Gregory says he's going to co-sponsor the bill. But in reality, here in Jeff City, he's refused to co-sponsor that bill for the last 2 years. Ditto for HB 1708. He says in his survey, oh yeah, I'll co-sponsor the bill to get rid of gun-free zones. Well, why haven't you, Kurtis, for the last 2 years in the Capitol? So all of these things that Kurtis Gregory now says he'll be a supporter of in the Senate, he has refused to support in the House. So only you can decide if he is suddenly a newfound champion in the fight for the Second Amendment, or if he has been lying to gun owners on his survey by promising to be a champion when he has refused to do that for the last couple of years. Bottom line, Doug Richey, 100% pro-gun, a history of fighting for the Second Amendment. If you see Doug Richey, thank him for his pro-gun votes and for his great survey. If you see Kurtis Gregory, I just ask him, why have you never co-sponsored a gun bill? Why are you constantly refusing to add your name on these gun bills? Why have you never filed a pro-gun bill of your own? Because as far as we know, he has not done that. Ask him those questions, guys, and don't let him just talk his way out of it. Get a real concrete answer and see what he says. Guys, that's our recap in this race. Do me a favor, share it on social media. You can find it on Twitter. You can find it on Facebook. You can find it on YouTube. Wherever you're watching this video, share it online. Make sure everyone knows where these candidates stand. And to see more race breakdowns from races all across the state, again, find us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. Go to our website to see more of these race breakdowns. Guys, get involved in the fight today. We need more people involved in defending gun rights here in Missouri. Go to joinmofc.com.